Anger in Of Mice and Men. When we talk about anger in Of Mice and Men, it's helpful to know where it is anger in general comes from. Anger is related to the ego. So, what is ego? Ego is your identity, in short. It's who you think you are, and it's how you wish others would see you. What is the purpose of ego? The purpose of ego, or your identity, is to negotiate with the world for what you want or what you need. It's a strategy. So, for example, if you see yourself as an athlete, then that's the strategy that you're using to negotiate with the world. That's how you get respect. You get respect by being a good athlete, and that's something that you want. It's something that you need. What's the relationship between identity and anger? Well, if identity is a strategy for negotiating with the world, then anger is a signal that negotiations are failing. I'll give you an example. If your identity is that of an athlete and you see yourself as an athlete and you want others to see you as an athlete and you are losing a game, then you might become angry. It might be that you, it might be that you feel like you were cheated. It might be that the other team is just better than you. It might be that you got injured. It could be any of those things. But whatever it is, your identity, your sense of yourself as an athlete is insufficient in that moment. You are unable to win the match or win the game. And so therefore you are failing and your sense of yourself is failing. Carl Jung, who's a famous psychologist, said the first half of your life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. The second half is going inward and letting go of it. That's a very odd thing to say. Why would you want to let go of your ego? Why would you want to erase your identity? Well, there's a bit of a clue in this old Buddhist expression. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. This is figurative. It's not meant to be literal. A couple things that you need to know. The Buddhists believe in reincarnation. And so the idea is if you're walking down the street and you see the incarnation of the Buddha, that you should kill him, figuratively, immediately. That seems also like an odd thing to say. So why would you say it? Well, the idea is this. If you see Buddha walking down the street, that means you recognize Buddha. That means you see yourself as being so enlightened, as being so wise, that you would know what Buddha looks like. You would know what Buddha sounds like. That you would know that you would be able to positively identify Buddha to the point where you would be comfortable enough in targeting him like that and knowing that you're not making a mistake and just killing some random person walking down the street. So what the expression really means is that the moment that you believe that you have everything figured out, the moment you believe that your strategies for negotiating with the world are perfect, you should kill that idea in your head immediately. Again, it's figurative. You're not killing a person, you're killing an idea. It's about humility. It's about understanding that you don't know everything. It's about understanding that your identity is insufficient. It's necessarily insufficient. It's always going to be insufficient. When I know I'm nobody, where does that come from? Mike Tyson says, sometimes I get in my head and think I'm somebody, and then I'm easily offended. But when I know I'm nobody, I could never be offended. Mike Tyson is clearly not a nobody. There's 3 or 4 generations of people that know exactly who Mike Tyson is, what he looks like, what he sounds like, what he did. But the context of this quote was in an interview where the person asked him, Mike, do you still get these explosive bouts of anger? And Mike Tyson said, well, sometimes when I think of myself as a heavyweight champion of the world, when I think of myself as super rich, super famous Mike Tyson that everybody knows, but when I remind myself that ultimately I'm just a person like everyone else, and I have that humility, and I'm able to, and he didn't say, this is not verbatim, he didn't say all this, but this was what he meant. When I remind myself that I'm nobody, I can never be angered, because how can you anger a nobody? So here are some different examples of anger in Mice and Men. So this one was from George. He was dropped off miles and miles from the ranch. He's furious. Well, he failed to negotiate with the bus driver, but guess what? It's inevitable. This is all about ego. There's going to be people who cheat. There's going to be people who lie. There's going to be people who mistreat you. These people exist in the world. There's nothing you can do about it. And so this is George becoming angry because he wasn't able to get dropped off at the ranch. there's nothing you can do about that in life.